You cannot become who you are meant to be while clinging to who you once were. Every memory, every habit, every compromise from your past acts like a shadow, holding you back from stepping into your true power. Yet, we live in a world addicted to comfort, distraction, and the illusion of progress, scrolling endlessly through other people's curated lives while avoiding the quiet, painful work of confronting ourselves. The truth is brutal. Growth requires destruction. To rebuild, you must first dismantle. You must be willing to face the old version of yourself, the fears, the excuses, the habits that have kept you small, and confront them in solitude. This is not about temporary motivation or fleeting inspiration. This is about truth. The truth that the only path to transformation lies in discipline, reflection, and courage. The person you are today, flawed, hesitant, perhaps fearful, cannot become who you are meant to be if you continue to cling to the old patterns that brought you comfort. There is a certain agony in this realization. You will feel fear, resistance, and doubt. That is normal. But these emotions are not enemies. They are the signals of impending growth. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you stand alone, stripped of the familiar crutches of society, you come face to face with the person you have been hiding from, the one who settles, complains, procrastinates, or fears. This confrontation is terrifying, yet unavoidable. It is in these moments, in the discomfort of solitude, that the raw material of your transformation is revealed. Here lies the opportunity to decide who you will become, not who others expect you to be, and certainly not who you were yesterday. In this video, we will explore 6 Stoic rules to rebuild yourself alone, to destroy the old you, and to rise stronger, sharper, and unshakable in mind and spirit. If you are 1, embrace discomfort. The first rule is simple yet profoundly difficult. Embrace discomfort. The old self clings to ease because it is familiar, even if it suffocates. Comfort is seductive. It whispers, "Stay here. Avoid risk. You are safe." But safety is the illusion of stagnation. Stoicism teaches that true growth is born in resistance, in the deliberate confrontation with what makes us uneasy, anxious, or afraid. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." The mind, like a muscle, must be exercised against opposition to gain power, endurance, and clarity. Imagine the last time you avoided something because it was uncomfortable. Perhaps it was confronting someone, admitting a mistake, or taking a bold step toward a goal. Each act of avoidance may have protected you temporarily, but in reality, it reinforced weakness. The old self thrives in inaction, in excuses, in the illusion that comfort is security. To rebuild, you must choose discomfort consciously, repeatedly, and with intention. Discomfort is also the gateway to awareness. It exposes your habits, your fears, your illusions. It forces you to confront your limits and recognize where growth is possible. Every moment you endure without complaint, every situation you face without retreat, becomes a brick in the foundation of your new self. Without discomfort, the mind and spirit cannot stretch. Without pain, you cannot distinguish between strength and weakness. This is why embracing discomfort is essential. The old self will resist, rationalize, and attempt to retreat, but the new self, the version of you that is emerging, welcomes it. Growth is never gentle. It is forged in struggle, in the tension between what is familiar and what is necessary. When you deliberately choose the hard path, when you face resistance head-on, you begin to cultivate the unshakable. 2. Seek silence over noise. The second rule is to seek silence over noise. The world is deafening. Endless notifications, constant opinions, social media, and the opinions of others demand your attention. They create the illusion of action while preventing true introspection. Solitude is where clarity is born. Alone, the mind sharpens, distractions fall away, and the quiet reveals truths that the noise of society obscures. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." In silence, you cannot hide. You are forced to confront yourself, your choices, your fears, your desires, and your failures. It is in these moments that you recognize the patterns that have held you back, the habits that sabotage your growth, and the illusions that distort your understanding of life. Silence is not emptiness. It is the canvas on which self-mastery is painted. Seeking silence requires courage. It demands rejecting the constant chatter of the outside world, resisting the urge to seek approval, and facing your own mind honestly. Most people flee from these moments, preferring distraction, comfort, or temporary pleasure. But the person who rebuilds alone welcomes it. In the stillness, you discover your priorities, understand your true motivations, and gain the clarity to act decisively and purposefully. Solitude is transformative. It illuminates the space between thought and action, exposing the decisions you must make to reconstruct yourself. The quiet is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and profound. When you master silence, you master your inner world. When you master your inner world, you can shape your external world. In this silence, the raw material of your future self is revealed. Third rule is to take full responsibility for your life. The old self seeks excuses, blaming circumstances, people, or luck for its stagnation. Stoicism offers no such comfort. Every failure, every misstep, and every delay is yours to own. To rebuild, you must claim the entirety of your life, your choices, your inactions, your victories, and your failures. Heraclitus said, "Character is destiny. Every action you take, or fail to take, shapes the person you become." Responsibility is not punishment, it is freedom. By acknowledging your role in your life's current state, you reclaim power. You realize that change is possible, not because the world will shift in your favor, but because you have the authority to act decisively, intentionally, and relentlessly. Taking responsibility also means confronting your own limitations without denial. Every habit, fear, or compromise of the old self was a choice. Now, consciously choose differently. No one can discipline you, push you toward courage, or endure your discomfort for you. This burden is not a curse, it is a privilege. It is the means by which you craft the life you desire, and it is the engine of true freedom. Responsibility transforms suffering into opportunity. Every obstacle, every failure, becomes material for growth. The moment you embrace it fully, the old self loses its hold, and the blueprint of your future self emerges with clarity. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are an architect of destiny, building with precision, deliberation, and unwavering resolve. Fourth, destroy what no longer serves you. This is not a suggestion. It is a necessity. The old self accumulates attachments, relationships that drain, habits that weaken, beliefs that limit. To rebuild, these must be severed, removed, and replaced with what aligns with your purpose. Painful? Absolutely. Necessary? Undeniably. Marcus Aurelius said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." Letting go is a philosophical act as much as an emotional one. Every attachment, resentment, and indulgence that clings to you prevents growth. To create space for the new self, the old must be destroyed. It is not destruction for its own sake, it is liberation. Destroying the old self is courage in action. The world celebrates accumulation, comfort, and attachment. But to become the person you are meant to be, you must act counter to instinct and expectation. Sever the ties that anchor you to the past, reject habits that drain your spirit, and release the illusions that keep you small. Only then does freedom emerge. When you actively destroy what no longer serves you, you reclaim your agency. You stop reacting to life's circumstances and begin to shape them. The process is not painless, but it is transformative. Each act of severance clears space for focus, clarity, and purpose. The old self fades, and the new self rises, stronger, wiser, and unshakable. 5. Build through discipline, not desire. The fifth rule is to build through discipline, not desire. Motivation is fleeting. Desire is capricious. They rise and fall like tides, unpredictable and unreliable. Discipline, however, is constant. It is the unyielding force that forms character, shapes destiny, and creates resilience. Every day, the choices you make, even in small matters, compound to define who you are becoming. Epictetus reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Rebuilding yourself alone requires mastering the self. This mastery is not won through inspiration, emotion, or fleeting enthusiasm. It is forged in deliberate, repeated action aligned with virtue and purpose. Each habit, each ritual, each conscious act builds the scaffolding of the new self. Discipline cultivates patience, endurance, and focus. Transformation is never instantaneous. It is the accumulation of small victories over time. The old self desires shortcuts, comfort, and immediate gratification. The new self, guided by discipline, persists when desire fades, acts when motivation wanes, and chooses long-term growth over short-term pleasure. By living with discipline, you reclaim control over your actions, your thoughts, and ultimately, your destiny. The new self emerges not from whim, but from deliberate, repeated, and purposeful effort. It is unshakable because it is earned through consistent, mindful, and disciplined practice. 6. Seek meaning in solitude, not loneliness. Finally, seek meaning in solitude, not loneliness. The journey of rebuilding is isolating. Friends, comfort, and social validation will not accompany you on this path. But solitude is not emptiness. It is the crucible of transformation. In isolation, the self is revealed. Weaknesses are exposed. Fears are confronted. Clarity emerges. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." But if those people are not yet present in your life, become your own companion. Learn to be comfortable with yourself, to confront your thoughts and emotions, and to cultivate the virtues that define strength, resilience, and wisdom. Solitude is where reflection becomes insight, and insight becomes deliberate action. Meaning arises in solitude, because the distractions, noise, and illusions of the outside world fall away. You confront what matters most: purpose, values, and the blueprint of your future self. Loneliness fades when purpose fills the space. The person who rebuilds alone learns to find fulfillment not in external validation, but in mastery of the self, deliberate action, and unwavering integrity. Solitude is the ultimate teacher. It is where resilience is cultivated, character is forged, and clarity emerges. Embrace it, and the new self rises, strong, confident, and unshakable. To rebuild yourself alone is to confront the hardest truth you will ever face. The old self must die for the new self to live. It is brutal, it is uncomfortable, and it is utterly necessary. In this solitude, you discover clarity, power, and serenity that no comfort, distraction, or external validation can ever provide. Do not watch this as a spectator. Step into discomfort. Embrace silence. Take responsibility. Sever what no longer serves you. Build through discipline. Seek meaning in solitude. This is the path to mastery, resilience, and freedom. If you are ready to rise, rebuild, and become the person you were always capable of being, subscribe to Stoic Thrive, tap the bell, and join a community dedicated to courage, wisdom, and inner growth. Remember, the journey is yours alone, but the wisdom of the ancients will guide every step. Rise, rebuild, become.